Hello everyone, welcome back to our 100% playthrough run for Yakuza 2 on the PlayStation 2. We are going to be finishing Chapter 5 in this one, which is the longest chapter I think in the entire run. I'm confident that it is. So part of why it's going to be so long is because we're going to be doing sub-stories, picking up almost all of the coin locker keys, and a lot of the mini games. Yeah. So first thing, you're gonna go into the Club Sega Theater Square and talk to the guy playing the Y, whatever this arcade game is. I forgot. Just beat him. No big deal. Not a real challenge. And then do it again. He's not gonna take that L. So once you do that, he's going to bring you outside, and you just have to beat him up. Not a very difficult fight. But yeah, as I was saying, we're going to be doing a lot of the mini games in this chapter. You don't necessarily have to do it as I do, but I find it more convenient to just knock them out alongside the sub-stories. Now, some of the sub-stories are not required, and I'll talk about those when we get to them. During this fight, I leveled up my soul. Although I should acknowledge that there is a sub-story where you need to, or you can't complete it in its entirety until you get your body up to level 8. Which we will do by the end of the chapter, but it's not until the very end of it that I actually get to wrap up that sub-story, which also connects to the Coliseum. Anyway, we beat up that guy, and I used the heat action I don't think I had used before with the broken bottle there. And he's going to challenge us again with a lightsaber. And that lightsaber is actually one of the items that you get post-game, I think, for beating Amon. I believe that's what the reward for that is. But we're gonna head back inside and grab a coin locker key here. And we're gonna go into the Debura Underground Club. And there should be a key here. You have to pardon me, it's been a few days since I recorded this footage. I'm actually doing the commentary post, actually finishing the run. I can confirm to you that we're going to get a complete 100% by the end of this. But it's it took a while. It was a journey, and I've gotten 100% on the first 6 Yakuza games, Yakuza 0 as well, the Kawamis, and even considering 5, I think that this was the most tedious. I really do. And 5 really got on my nerves with that freaking pachinko, but this was bad. So anyway, just pay attention to where I'm going to get these coin locker keys. Almost all of them are available to you by Chapter 5, interestingly enough. Some of them, of course, are related to sub-stories. Only like 2 or 3 of them, I think. So in the parking lot, there's actually a heat action. I wouldn't necessarily say it's unique here, but I don't know where else you can actually pick up the item to do it. I don't get it in this fight because this is a special fight. You have to hit this guy once, but he's really fast. Mr. Try and Hit Me. I feel like this type of sub-story gets incorporated a lot. These special types of enemies where you just have to hit them once, but they're really freaking fast, swinging around everywhere. I don't even know why that one hit, but it did. Might be worthwhile to make a save before doing that one, if you don't want to waste too much money in case you miss it. But yeah, there's also a coin locker key here, and I just walked past it. I missed it, but I picked it up later. As this is footage from later, as you see, Kitty's a little drunk right now. But I had to come back here because I forgot it earlier. But yeah, make sure you grab that key. But yeah, there's a syringe in that parking lot when you fight somebody there that you can use for a unique heat action. And I don't recall that syringe popping up anywhere else. Someone in the comments might be able to or give us another location where it is, but I think it's exclusive to that. So go in front of this place here, and then you'll beat up those guys. No big deal. Do make a save before the sub-story, and probably I recommend bringing a weapon or some healing items, because This is actually surprisingly one of the trickier fights in the game, especially for being a lower level. You can pick whatever choices you want here. I picked the funny ones. This is actually probably the funniest sub-story, one of the funniest sub-stories in the series for sure. These guys have a very, or I should say, the main guy has a very unique, I guess you would say fetish. Yeah, go ahead and beat those guys up. And then you'll finish this sub-story after you beat the boss. This will actually be brought back up in Infinite Wealth, and I can't remember if it comes up again before that, but it will come up again in Infinite Wealth, like a Dragon 8. I think you get this phone call once you go near a taxi. I think that's what triggers this phone call to appear. So there's a key here behind Serena, and I think I'm going to actually go up here to do some item management. Oh no, there's a key inside of here as well. Right by this couch here. And then I'm going to do some item management. Is that too much crap on me? So go into the Hubini here, right by Serena. And you can see that guy. Actually, you're going to pick up a coin locker key first, I think. If there is one in here. I don't think there is. Oh, well, we're going to talk to this guy here. He's collecting YF figures, that arcade game we've been playing. Gotcha, I guess. Mystery figure type stuff. So we're going to just buy one and conveniently get the one he's been trying to get for hours or days maybe. And we give it to him. And he gives us 3 rare figures in return. I held on to them throughout because I couldn't recall if they had any other purpose, but I'm pretty sure they just exist for you to sell them to the pawn shop. And then right out of there, we're going to talk to this guy. Kind of important that we do this kind of early because this is going to open up the casino and gambling hall to us, as well as some other side stories and coin locker keys. So I'll help that guy out, and he's going to give us a ride to the Dragon Palace. This is where Shinji tragically died. Shinji and Reina tragically were killed, which was a big boss location in the first game. Kind of interesting how they incorporated it into this one. So, quite a few coin locker keys to pick up here. I think I'm going to level up my body first. No? Am I going to wait? I don't level up my technique for a while. I guess I do one here, trying to keep it a little even. But I don't really... That's the last level, or that's the last attribute that we get up to max. I'm going to get my body maxed first. But there's a key right here, right in front of the casino doors. I know this place could be a little bit labyrinthy, especially because it's not some entries are cut off or whatever. But on the second floor, there's 2 keys we can get. There's one here in this first room, in the corner, right? These lockers, and then there's one in the gambling hall. So the gambling hall on the second floor, and there is one at the very far end, I believe. We'll be spending a lot of time here later. I pretty much take care of the gambling games towards the end of the run, like around chapter 13 or 14, something like that. This is the 3rd floor. There's one right by the elevator. And in the 4th floor, there's one at this dead end here. You can also look at my map, my mini map that I keep open for you to kind of help navigate. There's one here. I believe that's the last one here. And the palace, yeah, because we're about to move on to the sub-story in here. There's a weapon shop guy there, arms dealer, if you need to buy anything from him. Not anything really worth getting. He does have a modded iron. I recommend picking that up at some point because there is a unique heat action with it. I don't get it until like the very end of the game because I just completely forgot about it, but you can get it whenever you want. I'm pretty sure he's the only person that sells it. I could be wrong there, but this is where I got it. But on the other side here, going to go in this room and we're going to talk to I think Cyclops was his fight name. So he's a little tricky. He's a little tricky, but there's a trick to him that I wish I knew when I did my first playthrough of this, my first recording, because I spent way too much time fighting this guy than I should have. We're gonna fight him 3 times. This is the first time. You can't do the third one until you get your body to level 8, so that won't be till later. This is the strat. Heat actions do a lot of damage to him, so hit him in the back with square triangle, and it can stun lock him. It really does. I didn't fully figure that out yet here, but I did get the general idea of, oh, use heat actions. So when he's guarding like that, use square triangle, just the one hit, one light and one heavy hit combo, and you'll stun lock him to get your heat up. But I'm going to actually do this here, and it's really broken that you can do this. You can completely bring his health down with this heat action. It's kind of absurd. It really is. Just keep smashing that square button. Keep smashing the square button and he'll go down. That's one way you can do it, I guess. That's another way to do it. But heat actions really do a lot of damage. Do melee attacks, not so much. Or just standard combos, I should say. But fighting him, we learn Essence of Crushing, which will give us unique heat actions for later. We're going to come back to that later. Actually, we're going to go to the pharmacy because in order to do the next 2 sub-stories with him, we need 3 stamina royales. Yeah, we need those. And we need 3 Odin soups, which you can get at like any Kobeni. Unfortunately, on my way to get that, I ran into this sub-story, so I kind of had to start it. This is in front of the cafe. Yeah, you just chase this guy down. Very easy sub-story here. Guy wanted to set the place on fire, a little pyromaniac, so just beat him. And I believe you'll befriend the manager here by doing this. Or I might be thinking of the Cafe Alps. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Cafe Alps sub-story. That's later. But I got some food here, and then I checked for the coin locker key inside of this building. Going back up to Theater Square, right by the big screen. There's this guy standing here. We'll talk to him. We're going to give him our email. He's going to send us a very bizarre text, which is going to tell us to pick up a coin locker key at the park that's right in front of us. And we're going to actually pick up 2 here. We're going to pick up the standard one and the one that's related to the sub-story. So there's one here by this park bench, or in front of this park bench. And then there's one here behind this one, or under it. I'm trying to get this one here in front of the coin lockers. before I actually just open. Right now I'm just going to open the one that's related to the story, which I believe is 14. Yeah. So just open that one and then worry about the rest of that later. And do not open the box. I was double checking here to make sure I made the right choice, but yeah, do not open the box. And that's going to bring us to the next step of this sub-story. Waiting to get a text on the way there. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, on the way there, go ahead and pick up this coin locker key by the Millennium Tower. On the steps of the Millennium Tower. So that text told us to go to that little alley behind Shine, the Hostess Club, Cabaret Club. On my way there, I go into this alley behind the pharmacy. Talk to this little cat here. Cute little guy. We're going to actually learn a move from the cat. And there is a key to pick up here. Grab that. And now we're going to go to this little alley behind Shine and talk to this guy. So it's a little lengthy of a sub-story, this one. Mostly just a lot of running around. Yeah, be sure to open that text at some point. What am I doing here? I'm going to the ramen shop first to pick up the key that's in here as well. And I guess I'm going to pick up some stuff here before continuing with that sub-story. Oh, I'm gonna go here now? Okay. Well, this is the massage parlor, which is a mini game that's not actually, there's no completion for it, but if you do the special shiatsu, if you complete that, then you actually unlock a extra heat gauge. So you definitely want that. Pretty simple mini game. You've got that little heart there in the middle, and you want to keep it from, you don't want it to go too high or too low, or Kiryu will have a little accident. Just look at the happy little flowers, and you don't really have to come back to this place unless you want to. We're gonna go into the bikini bar here. There's actually a sub story in here that requires you to go and watch the show 3 times. Now you don't actually have to watch the whole thing 3 times. You can just like walk in here, like walk by the stage, and then leave. There is a key all the way here on the left side, so make sure you grab that before you head out. We'll worry about the sub-story in here later. Just grabbing that while I'm here. So, going to the Kobeni behind the pharmacy. And there is a key. You probably saw it sparkle there. I think I did too. I was on the other end, but there's a key there. And you can get the Odin. The 3 Odins that you would need. And now we're going to go continue the email sub-story, which has us going into the bowling alley. I believe there's a key here as well. Or maybe not. Oh, yep, there it is, right in front of the guy we have to talk to. So grab that, and then we're going to talk to this guy. Going to say the top option. How many bells do you need? And then we're going to fight him. And after you beat him up, we're going to have to go and find the guy that started this whole chain of events. which conveniently is right around the corner from here. Once we're outside, we go right up here, right where we found him in the first place. Gonna talk to him, chase him down. You know how it goes. Apparently, I struggled to see him in the back there. I ran into the park trying to find him. There he is. Got a lot of money from this one too. That was that 200K we just got? Crazy. Anyway, took that guy out. And there is a key right here by the taxi as well. Now we're in Champion District, and there's a few keys to get here. 2, I believe, actually. One in the northern Champion District. This is also, there's 2 bars here, which is also where you'll be doing a lot of your drinking. Well, there's a sub-story. If you go right down the middle here, this guy's going to come up. Now there's a couple items here that are pretty unique to this location, like the salt that I use for heat action, so be aware of that when you do battles in Champion District. They aren't exclusive to that area, but they don't come up very often, so seize the opportunity when you see it. As I'm going to do in the next battle with the sub-story. With this portable stove. That had to hurt. God, I can't even imagine. Permanent scarring for sure. Well, once that's all said and done, beat these guys up. They'll have their long dialogue exchange. And we're done with that side mission. Now, if you go into this little area here, which is where we battled those gang members in the first game, we'll find our old pal Coma key. We're not going to talk to him yet, though. We are going to grab that key. There should be another one at the end here as well by the van. Yeah, right by the roadblocks there. Now in this little alleyway between the Millennium Tower and the adult video store, there is another key. And then we are going to go into the adult video store, because there's a key in there as well, amongst other things of interest. Some works of actresses that will actually be in the later games. And in this L-shaped alley, there is a key. Some of them you just kind of feel like, yeah, that seems like an obvious place to put a key. I'll go there, and more than likely it'll be there. And there's one here at the very, very northernmost part of the entire map, right there. And this is what it's looking like for me now. And I'm gonna go back to Cyclops here, since I was in the neighborhood, so I went back in here, gave him those 3 Odins we bought. We can do this fight, but we have to be level 8 to do the next one and the final one. Now during this fight, I really gotta handle the strategy against him. So, as I was saying, square, triangle, square, triangle. You can stun lock him, build up your heat. Those heat actions don't do as much damage. The ones with the wall, smashing his head up on the wall, it does the most damage. That's kind of just all throughout the whole game, really. I don't know what it is about those wall heat actions, but man, they hurt. But there's the stun locking, and then boom, boom. boom, rinse and repeat, and then you'll get them. Got another essence there. And if you try to talk to him without being at the proper level, he's just going to say this to you. In this area between Serena, there's another key here at the very end. Then go across where this park is, and there is a key under the bars here. And in this I don't want to say M-shaped alleyway, but this area, there's a key there, and then there's one inside of the mahjong parlor. Don't worry, we're not gonna play mahjong just yet. Not just yet. I know you got a little shiver down your spine as soon as the word came out of my mouth, but don't worry. Got a little bit of time before we have to worry about that. You're gonna grab the key here though. And yeah, that's looking like most of them already. Another one is in Don Quixote. And outside of Don Quixote, we're going to talk to the headmistress of the Sunflower Orphanage. There's 3 or 4 sub-stories connected to her, most of which is going to be us giving them money. But we love those kids, so we're going to do that. And for this one, choose the middle option. After talking to her after the donation, you're going to run around for a bit. I was running in Tenkaichi Street when I finally got the phone call. And the kids are missing the dog. The dog that Haruka helped in the first game. So we're going to go talk to this guy, one of the homeless buddies of the florist. And it's kind of sad, actually, because the guy's like, oh, yeah, this dog's been a real angel to us. And it's like, all right, well, yoink. I mean, damn, couldn't they just get another dog for the kids? Yes, I mean, they will, but when we get to Okinawa, but still, it's kind of messed up. After you get that text, you can go back and talk to the headmistress again, and that'll actually give us the XP clearing up that sub-story. And we'll start the next one. Go ahead and just... I did the math for this at the time, but just go ahead and do the exact amount that I give in installments here. So that was it 30k or 3? That was 30k. And then we're gonna get this side mission. They need money to fix the roof, so just keep giving them money. All your hard-earned money. But I guarantee you, money will not be an issue by the end of this run. I think when you go into your premium game after this, you'll have around 10 million to start with. So money will not be an issue. There's actually a side mission where you have to have at least 10 million, 11 million on you to complete it. Lots of gambling, I'm afraid. She'll disappear for a little bit. Just run around. We'll get a text. And we fixed the leak. Although it won't be long till we find out that the orphanage is getting scanned by whoever's doing this maintenance for them. But don't worry, Kiryu's gonna take care of that after we give them more money. So the repair people, so they're asking for 5 million to fix something, trying to extort the orphanage, I guess. So a lot of this is pretty much just running and waiting for text messages, and it'll bring you where you need to go. So there's a unique heat action here. You can grab an enemy from the front or behind, and then grab another one to throw onto the other. So let me explain that better. If there's an enemy on the floor, you can grab another one that's standing up from the front or the back, and you can use heat action to throw him onto the enemy. And it does count as two separate ones, whether you grab from the front or the back. And I'll show the opposite later in this video. There's a Barker here that you could help earlier. You probably should. I won't be getting all of those ally heat actions till like the last chapter, because I'm such a high level that I'm not getting street fights, only the fights that are in the sub-stories. No, run all the way back and talk to the headmistress, and 1,000 points. I believe this is the last one. So we did, what, 60k there? We'll do 40k here. Gotta find a contractor. Now this is kind of a, I don't want to say tricky, but not very self-explanatory. You can actually go into your important items, your valuable items, and your inventory by clicking the bumper, R1. And then you click on that phone number and call them. And in the meantime, Kitty is going to go take a break at the bikini bar. I don't want to necessarily say a strip club because it's not a full-on one, but go here. You can touch the stage. That should be enough. Then you can leave. And by that point, you should get the email. And I go to the very far east here of the map to grab this coin locker key. And is this where I help the Barker? I sure hope so. Well, there's a key right behind them too, where I saw that sparkle. It's actually a pretty well hidden one because you can't really see it with the guy standing in front of it. And we're gonna help that guy beat up this person. And that's our friend that will give us a unique heat action later. Or whenever you get into a fight in that area. Now we can talk to the headmistress and finish off this sub-story. Get a cute picture from the kids. And that's done. And level up our body up to level 7. Our health bar is pretty good now. So now this third time you actually do have to watch the whole show because she's going to drop a little note for Kiryu. Seems she developed a little bit of a crush on his return visits to the show. And when we walk out, it's going to bring us into the next sub-story. There she is. So there's a little bit of a trivia to this one. You see that bald guy with the glasses? You can pay him money to get the answers, or I can just give them to you for free here. So pick the top option, and then the top option again, and then D75. Goodness gracious. And leg sweep. And the third one actually doesn't matter. There's no right answer, so just pick whatever you want. I picked the middle option. And of course, it's going to result in a fight. This one's actually pretty funny, so I'm going to let it roll. But this is an interesting fight. This guy's got a pretty big health bar, but one punch, and that's it. He's done. Pretty funny there. And then Kiryu's gonna have himself a romantic night. They're gonna go to that hotel together, but I think they're playing cards or something. I don't know. Then go to Dragon Palace here. Go to the 4th floor. And shogi time. Okay. So this is one of the rare Yakuza games where you actually have to play shogi. In fact, you have to play it like 20 games to get up to the shogi king or whatever he was called. So you play a game with someone the 10th rank or the 9th rank, and then you go up a rank. So you start at 10Q, you beat the guy that's 10Q, and then you go up to 9, 8, 7. So you go up the ranks, right? And you keep doing that until you eventually fight the Shogi King. Now you're sitting there wondering, oh, I don't know how to play Shogi. How the hell do I do this? Well, don't worry. I don't know either. I suck at Shogi so much. But there is an app, an AI app that will basically play the computer for you. I'm going to include a guide on how to use it in the description. It's a necessity if you want to get the shogi stuff done in this game. Now, you don't have to do mini. I don't actually think you need to do mini games. I got completion on the mini games, and frankly, I don't recommend it because even at the very end of the game, it doesn't tally. Because there's like the final results sheet, and it doesn't even show your mini games. Like it just doesn't care. I don't know necessarily what the mini games count for, but there's a side mission here. This is not required either for Amon. You can skip this sub story. There's a couple that you can skip that are related to the mini games. But this is how I did it. Kind of a specific one, as you can see. It's a unique game versus the standard shogi. But yeah, there's an app you can use that will show you how to beat opponents. It's not 100% guaranteed. It's more like 90% guaranteed. But it still took me about 3 hours just of playing shogi to get completion. I did 10 games at a time, and then another 10 later down the line. But the side stories, again, the shogi ones are not required. The game was generous enough to acknowledge that, hey, maybe not everybody knows how to freaking play this game, and we'll throw you a bone for getting to Amon. I think about it, I can't remember if the Mahjong one is required or not. But yeah, just follow what I do here, and you'll get this sub story completed. I do go through all of them. I completed the mini games, all of them, and I don't recommend it. I really don't. I don't know if it really does count for much of anything because the final results don't even show it. Your mini game progress, I think that's just a personal scoreboard, but of course it's on the completion list, so I know completionists are gonna want it done. I did it once, and I will never, ever, ever do it again. It was awful. I guess if you're going for trophies, like on the HD remaster, the Japanese released HD remaster, yeah. But other than that, I see no true benefit at all to doing all the mini games because it is truly some diabolical stuff in here, as we'll see later throughout the chapter. That's kind of what we're getting into now. Actually, though, beating this sub-story does get you a coin locker key. So I do recommend that. There's another shogi sub story that's completely optional, and even the AI struggles to beat it sometimes. But we'll worry about that when we get to it. So bowling next. Bowling, you pretty much have to get a perfect game on both 3 frames and 10 frames, and to do that, get the 14 ball and kind of just hit where my gauge is. I like to aim to the left, hit the right bumper all the way to the right, kind of where my arrow is on the gauge there. And it's pretty much a guaranteed strike. But considering you have to basically get a perfect game, roughly, it can be pretty strenuous. And I did not get this in the first try. I promise you, this one did take a little bit. I still think that the bowling in Zero was a little bit more tedious. Getting the turkey on that was a lot harder for me than doing it on this one. But we get a side mission after playing 5 times with these guys these guys right here, and you just have to beat them in bowling, and then beat them up in a fight. And that is the front-facing way of using that heat action that I cannot remember the name of. But as you can see, this is why I do a lot of the minigame completions in this chapter, because there's sub-stories connected to them, such as the shogi and bowling, and now we're going to have one for batting. I feel like the batting is a little more generous in this game, because it seems to have a more... I don't know, it felt like more fair of a window than the first game. First one was just an outright nightmare for getting those 20 home runs in a row for Haruka. I I still don't like it very much on this one, but it did feel a little bit easier except for the final course. That's also why I really just don't encourage you to do this at all, really. But not much I could say about batting. It's just timing. And I mean, look at this. I don't know what to do about that shit. And that one I could have hit, but I just whiffed. But you only need to get 10 to finish the sub story, which does get you the essence of batting heat action. But yeah, batting is rough. And now Mahjong. Yep. So I used to have a buddy that was really good at Mahjong. He used to do these he would like guide me on getting completion in the games. Unfortunately, he's too busy. I don't really get to see him much lately, so I kind of had to start learning myself. And I've had people ask me, to give advice or tutorials on Mahjong, and I am a bare minimum. I have bare minimum knowledge of this. Like I know the very basic fundamentals of what to look for to get a winning hand, but I can't I can't really call myself a player. I'm still learning. I really want to actually get the Switch 2 version of Yakuza so I can get portable Mahjong, but I mean, it's all about hands, really, like poker. You have to get sets, matching sets. There's patterns to it. I can include some guides that helped me out, but I I myself do not understand the game well enough to really teach it, because I'm looking for the very basic means of winning. But for completion, you need to get 50k points, I believe. I believe it was 50k points. But either way, after playing a few times, you're going to go out here and there's going to be a guy. This sub-story is pretty evil. I'm not going to lie. You have to beat these guys at Mahjong, and you only get 10,000 points. Or was it 1,000 points? I think it's 10,000 points. It's rough. Make sure you make a save before you do this. You should be saving and saving often always with this game. Yeah, we're very much the underdog here. And I did have to reset a couple times. I had to reset my save a couple times for this, but eventually I did get it. But Mahjong it's hard to learn and hard to master. But I mean, it makes sense if you really just look. There's lots of guides on YouTube just to understand the basic fundamentals, which is enough for me to get through completion for these games, really. There's only few of them that require specific hands, and that will be a problem that we will have to overcome together when we get to Yakuza 0, but for now, we just had to get points and win. That's all. Now this is just real Donkey Duke right here. This is where the developers just said, hey, we hate you. Because you have to get 10,000 medals and slots in a single sitting. Yeah. Because it doesn't add on. So to do this, there's a sub-story related to this too, by the way. You only had to get 3,000 for that guy, but it's also optional. You don't have to do it. But to get completion, go to the Aladdin machine 111. 111. 111. It has the highest chance of getting the lucky draws. And here's my final results screen. 2,654 turns and a sitting. I got the jackpot 4 times out of all of those. This took me 2 to 3 hours. What I did was I just put on a show on my other screen and just watched it while mindlessly playing slots like a freaking addict. It's awful. I seriously don't recommend this, but if you're a crazy completionist like me, then you know, and there's nothing I can say. It's slots. It's all luck. You just have to just tough it out. You have to sit there and wait until you get the points. That's all there is to it. That's all there is. There's no item to help make it go easier. There's no trick, no strategy, except for using that specific machine. Anyway, once you get that done, you'll get this sub-story completed. Again, that one is optional. You don't have to do that one at all if you don't want to. In Theater Square, there's another guy that needs our help here. Don't recall if I've showed this heat action before. The ones that, after battling Cyclops, you can actually grab characters by their legs and use heat actions in your environment. And after that, go to the pawn shop and keep selling and buying from him, I think 10 times in total. After 10 times, go back in there and he'll be harassed by an angry customer. So go outside, I guess, to fight him. Pretty easy fight. And then you will befriend the pawn shop owner, which will unlock a unique heat action later down the line. And don't forget to get your drinks in too for that completion. The bars here, have different drinks. And also here at Earth Angel, make sure you drink there a few times to befriend the Mama-san. No unique heat actions here. Oh no, I do use the bowling one. After you finish bowling, the bowling sub-story, you unlock that heat action where you have to be at a distance and you can use the bowling ball. Pretty funny. Definitely broke that guy's leg. And now we've got a friend here. After that, we can finally do our training with Komaki. There's 3 we can do at this point. There's 4 in total, though. Not as intensive as the previous game. The first one is learning about battling enemies in all directions. So just, just follow the actual prompt. They're pretty straightforward, just like tutorials. And then we're going to unlock unique heat actions here. These are like counter heat actions where an enemy is going to hit you from any of the 4 directions: front, back, left, or right. Any direction. You press triangle, boom, heat action. Let's see if I can do one from the front here. Or the side. Alright, so it's one from the side. That's both sides. Your left and your right are different heat actions. All 4 directions are different heat actions. And the next one, we're going to get heat actions for weapons, specifically guns. This counts for handguns and shotguns. Maybe I was wrong. I think this is actually the one for getting your heat up faster. Which, to do that, just grab a rock and beat them up. Yeah, the next one is the firearms. I was completely wrong there. My apologies. The middle one was just really easy. You just use that rock and get your heat up. This is your firearms one, which just run up to somebody that's got a gun and use your heat action. Actually doesn't really do that much damage, truthfully. For the tutorial part here, you gotta use a plate and not get shot, and just smack them with it. And then you'll unlock the heat action. There's one for handguns and shotguns. Shotguns don't pop up as much in the game. I'll be sure to show you a guaranteed spot where you can get that one. But this is pretty much what I'm looking at right now. So you see the Komaki sub-stories aren't finished yet, and they will not be finished until you complete the Underground Coliseum. Probably the biggest grind right there with minigames. So, jumping ahead here, there's this guy on the bench. Give him some sake. And that will give us another friend here. Knock that one out. And, yeah, we can actually go forward with the story from here. Skip at the cutscenes and dialogue and all of that. We'll be at the Tojo clan headquarters. And we do have to find a hidden area, kind of, sort of hidden. So go down here, follow the marker, go talk to Yayoi-san. Go to the scroll, interact with it, and we'll open up this elevator. Now, you need to pick up one thing here. This one. This is the one you need for the story, but there's other stuff you can also just grab. Walk around the room. All the different sparkles. None of these are keys. They're just items to help you out in your battles and whatnot. More than likely, they'll just end up sitting in your inventory. I don't really use that many equips until in-game anyway. Don't really need them. I do talk with them. There's going to be a fight. So, if you recall in the previous part, the previous video, I mentioned that there is 3 food items that are exclusive to daytime. We are about to get the opportunity to eat those. So what I'm going to do here in this fight is I'm actually going to let my health get whittled down to near death. It didn't need to go this low, to be entirely honest, but I couldn't remember how much I needed to eat the meals, so I did let the guy beat me up for that. And I'm using this goofy heat action to take him down, because when we return to Kamurocho, it is going to be daytime. Once we get back here, Sayama is going to be asking us to pick up some stuff for her, all of which will be at Don Quixote. We'll do that in a second. First, we're going to go here to the beef bowl place and get those 3 breakfast items. Which most certainly totally didn't mess up a run of mine in the past. This game. This game. Really, really rough, 100%. I'm entirely honest with you. And it's like, there's not that many guides out there to really direct you in the most optimal routing to get 100%. There's a great guide, the Game Facts guide that I include in the description of these videos, has helped me out tremendously. It's kind of an all-around guide, though, that is not really a route on the most efficient way to get 100% if you were trying to do it in a run. But I grabbed that key there in the cafe, and then I'm going to grab this one here and the larger L-shaped. Well, it's not really an L-shape. This smaller break there is more of an E, actually. It's an E-shape. And there's one in the batting cages, apparently I forgot to grab earlier. I'll get all those. We are nearing the end of this chapter, finally. And I finally leveled up to 8, I guess. And now we're going to finally give him those stamina royales. And once you give him those 3, you're going to battle him. And it's actually not that much trickier than the times you've already battled him. In fact, it's probably going to be easier because you've been leveling up. But just do the same thing. That strategy I showed you, it'll work. We can go into Don Quixote and pick up that stuff for Sayama. She needs underwear and a beer. Just like me for real. And now we're going to be heading to the end game of the chapter. We'll have Sayama tagging along with us, and you can do co-op battles with her, but I'm such a high level that I won't be getting into street fights anymore for a little bit. So we won't actually be doing that until the next chapter? Yeah. Make your way all the way up here to where the florist used to have his underground area. Did not mean to go down. Which is now under new maintenance, new management. Pleasure District. There is a key we can grab here. Right by this pillar. The very first one. You can go all the way to the end here. You can just follow. You can just follow the story markers. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. I don't have to explain that to you. We're gonna run into our good old boy Majima. Run into old boy Majima here. Majima Construction. Amplified like crazy in Kiwami 2. So here we are, the underground casino Coliseum. She'll be spending a lot of time here. But for now, we're just going to do the story fights. It is a little unique this time. This is the weapons one, really, where Kiryu has to use brass knuckles, which does limit your moveset a little bit. But there is a unique heat action here. Can't recall if I get it in this fight or not. Where you need to get the enemy knocked down. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, yeah, no, you don't. You just do that. You just hit the heat action near them. The rest of the fight's pretty straightforward. Just knock out your opponents. Should be really easy if you've been following the guide. You're going to notice as we go along that the story mode or the story fights are a lot easier than even the sub-story stuff we've been doing. Now, of course, there is going to be a unique heat action with Majima. Majima is a bit easier in this game than he was the first one to fight, but it's still pretty similar moveset. But once you get his health pretty low, you have some of these QTE moments here. If you don't mess it up, you'll get your heat up. Now, you can fight Majima in the Coliseum, so you have other opportunities to get this unique heat action. So don't worry too much if you miss it here, because you do have other opportunities to get it again, but here it is. Once that's done, go back and talk to Majima here in his office. Pretty lengthy dialogue exchange here before even going into the cutscene. And now the fun really begins, because the Coliseum is open to us. And we're going to be spending a lot of time there. So this is the big one, because you can't even complete all the sub-stories or fight Amon unless you finish the Coliseum. And what does that mean? No, it doesn't mean just finishing all of the different fights. It means you have to unlock all 51 opponents. So how do you do that? Well, 96% of them, 97% of them is just playing the game. You just keep doing these Coliseum matches over and over again. It's RNG where they'll pop up. And yeah, I can't really say a whole lot to that. It's just RNG. I hope that the RNG gods are in your favor. The game facts guide I included does have a list of where they're likely to pop up. But for the most part, yeah, you just have to hope that they pop up in the tournament that you go into. Now, there are some ones that are a little bit more specific, but a lot of that won't be for later anyway. There's not too much you can do here in Chapter 5. You can have the first 4 or 5 tournaments open, which actually is a lot to start with. And they're all, they're all pretty unique. Some of them are like, you have weapons and stuff. This one is important, though. There is a unique heat action. As you can see, the fence here is electric. You want to use a heat action on that electric fence. That is a unique environmental heat action, so make sure you grab that. There's another one we'll get later down the line. This is what I was looking at. Chapter 5. If you go back to Dragon Palace on the first floor, you can talk to this guy in the red room. Right, David Lynch. And that will be a Coliseum opponent that you can fight later. And you pretty much want to play every tournament at least 5 times, because some of them require you to be completed that many to unlock the next ones. I'm pretty sure just the first couple you only have to do 3 times, but you're gonna want to do them that many times anyway. Probably even more times to get those RNG opponents. But that's all we can do for Chapter 5. I'm sure you'll be spending quite a bit of time there, but once you're done playing with all the Coliseum that you can for now, head outside, and there's some keys we'll be picking up. There's one there right by the underground entrance. And then there's one right here, kind of going into those stairs. Komoro Hills, which will be a more important location in the next game. You can see that construction worker sitting down. That's actually a buddy that you can help out by giving him a stamina X. I forgot to do that until like the final chapter. I completely forgot about that guy, but he'll be there. He'll still be there. And before we finish off the chapter, there are two more sub-stories, and one of them opens by going into Champion District. This is the infamous fake Kiryu and Shinji sub-story. And, you know, Kiryu's got more strength than I do, because if somebody was impersonating my friend, let alone one that died, I would be livid. But... And on the way to finish that sub-story, I went into the DVD viewing area, Fusion, because I completely forgot to do this. You need to go watch all of the DVDs in there. Watch all of them, because I can't remember which one gives you the bonuses, but one of them does give you a heat gauge, and we'll be buying DVDs and stuff later that will give you unique heat actions and stuff like that. So it's better to just watch them. They're also pretty funny, too. So we're going to fight the fake Kiryu and Shinji. This is a unique heat action where if you have a full health bar and you grab your enemy from the front or behind, and you just grab them, not by anything in the environment, and you just use your heat action, and you have to have full health, and you'll get those. You do one from the front and one from behind. Run up to this car here. And pay attention. I'm not going to skip the fight here because you need to do something specific here. Well, you're also going to get this heat action as well. You need to use a heat action on the car. That is how you complete this sub-story. Do not just beat the guys up. That will not be a full completion. You have to make sure you damage the car. And then after that, we're finally done with this long-ass chapter. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next part where we'll knock out like 3 chapters, I think. See you then.